go. Lovely. Down straight in. Let's hold the head in the hands. Knees nice and soft. We're taking an extension of the spine. So let's have the shoulders down. And as you breathe in, a small lean back. And think about the thoracic spine, the upper spine lengthening rather than an arch in the lower back. And as you breathe out, coming back up to a long line. We use the hands to slightly draw the skull away from the cervical spine up to the ceiling. So thinking about length, you can straighten the legs but squeeze the glutes so that we are focusing on an extension of the upper spine, breathing out, coming back to that nice upright position. A few more rounds. So shoulders nice and soft, support the head, leaning back just from the ribs up. Think about length, shoulders down, shoulder blades come together, breathing out, feeling a little bit taller each time.
Go back into it again.
Squeeze the glutes, lifting the skull up to the ceiling and leaning back, heart space up to the ceiling, chest open wide. And last time all together, and then we'll just take a little bit of more movement in for the neck and shoulders. So keep hold with the right hand, the left fingers reach up and really away from the body. Reach into those fingers as we lean the head to the right. Fluttering those fingers down, pausing if there are any more intense sensations along the neck and shoulder. And then let's take it to the other side. So really cradling the head. We're not pushing our range of movement, supporting the head, fingers floating down. Really, here we are, pulling the arm out of the socket all the way down. Let's have one more each side. Taking your time. Last time. So we're going to roll the shoulders. Let's start by holding the shoulders, seeing how they feel. Elbows come together, shoulder blades separate, elbows up to the ceiling. That same back bend, but obviously now we're using the arms, shoulders, and a more intense rolling the shoulders back and down. We're adding the head. Chins come forward to the chest, elbows lift. And if you've no niggles in your shoulders, we can extend the arms twice more, with or without holding, supporting the shoulders. Nice big yawn, stretch, open the chest wide. Last time. Stretching, yawn if you need to. And then we're separating the feet. Bend the knees, hold the thighs, and let's take a twist. So if we keep the arms straight, drop the shoulder to the opposite knee. Inner thigh stretch, maybe you take the twist right up into the neck and look over your shoulder. Pause here to wring out the waist. Please don't force, it's our first proper twist. Back to the center over to the other side. So we can push the knee away and twist. Try to keep the length in the spine. And then come center. We're going to straighten the legs, roll down through the spine, chin to chest, let the arms hang. If this is tight on the backs of the legs, you can start by softening the knees. We're pausing in a forward fold. So let's see if with either the hands find the floor or the forearms can interlock. And take a few breaths. If you're comfortable, you feel you have your balance, close the eyes and let's just allow lengthening to happen in the body. Not making it happen, just taking gentle breaths in and out of the nose. Feeling some softening, lengthening the backs of the legs and along the spine. 2 more breaths here, and then we'll add on a rotation for the spine, which is a little bit deeper in this forward folded position. At the end of the next out breath, place 2 fists on the floor, so that the thumbs, fingers pointing towards each other. You can bend the knees if the hands don't find the floor. And it's like we're opening a cloud. Keep the arms straight. We take that left arm all the way up and stretch the chest open wide. And then breathe out, lower the fist. It's like a pendulum. We're taking it to the other side. That left fist to the floor, the right arm, chest opens wide. Keep going side to side. If you can match the breath, breathing in to open, lengthen the spine, widen across the collarbone, get that inner thigh stretch. The breath out, slowly controlled, lowering of the arms. Now let's think about the position of the arms. If we can stabilize the shoulders, so this means the humeral head, the bone, the upper arm bone is plugged into the shoulder socket. We've got this strength along all of the arm muscles as we're creating this fist. And we're creating some resistance, like we're moving through thick tar. Now let's avoid adding any tension into the neck. Your gaze can follow this moving arm, or just let the head dangle. Last couple of sets. Going slow enough, we can get all that work through all the muscles of the body. Even yourself out left and right, and then we're going to roll up through the spine. So to do that, let's soften the knees, release the arms, the fingers, and roll up through the spine with bent knees. And at the top, roll the shoulders back and down. Great. We're coming to hip distance apart with the feet. We're taking a chair with eagle arms. So let's first of all swing the arms in front of the body to shake out that tension. And nice easy flow. And then it's going to be your right elbow on top of the left. Across, right on top of left now, either the backs of the hands together, or we clamp the palms together. We're taking a chair. So our standing position is glutes on strong, hip flexors in that nice neutral position, shoulders down. So squeezing the glutes as we breathe in. We can lengthen the top of the head to the ceiling as we breathe out. Weight shifts into the heels. We sit back in a low squat and lift the elbows. So here we're flossing out the spine, or the shoulder blades with the spine rather. So we'll breathe in back to standing. Let's go for 8 reps. Shoulders down, long spine. And breathing out. Feel the corset pulling in around your waist. Elbows lifting towards your nose. Fingertips to the ceiling as we sit back into the heels. And returning. So don't worry if you're a slightly different pace. More important to just feel that shift in weight into the heels, the lift of the elbows without forcing. We don't need to go to our full range of movement. We could gradually work on flexibility just by working through a nice easy flow. So using the out breath to allow the shoulder blades to separate, the tummy button back to the spine. The breath in to reset. Don't worry what number you're on. Let's all make the next 2 our last. And then we'll be changing the cross in the arms and we'll switch to a victory squat. It's very intense release for the shoulder blades, quite a hard area to reach. And amazing. So if you're the same as me, your right arm was on top, it will be your left on top next. Let's first of all roll out the shoulders while we set up the legs. So feet will be nice and wide, toes turned out. And take a bend into the knees. Let's make sure we've got the knees tracking over the toes. Okay, let's prepare. Left arm on top. Find your clasp, which may be backs of the arms together. Okay, elbows down, squeeze the glutes, breathe in. And as you breathe out, fingertips to the ceiling, knees out wide and lift. Breathing back up to standing. Always squeeze the glutes and have a really nice reset at the top. Lovely. Keep going and see if you can really work the feet into the floor, the squeeze into the glutes, and a gentle lift of the elbows. And it doesn't matter if we can't clasp the hands, it's this action of being able to link the elbows, which just gives us that strength to prise the shoulder blades apart. So even though in our sitting positions we may often round the shoulders, we're actually often doing it in a really unhelpful way, and we create tension in those muscles, the rhomboids, the traps. So here we're just adding a little bit of a release, and then obviously we'll be taking a counter stretch, a clasp, so we can open the chest. Let's make the next our last. Press into the floor as we release down, and gently roll out the shoulders. Well done. Toe heel the feet in. We can have a few kickbacks just to relieve out the backs of the legs. So we'll use a pyramid fold and a clasp. So we're working into the chest muscles. So let's hold the hands behind the back, roll the shoulders back and down, both sets of toes pointing forwards. Now, heart space up to the ceiling, clasp hands down to the floor. Nice deep breath in, squeeze the glutes, aim to keep the legs straight. Doesn't matter how far you come down, let's try to feel the inner thighs pulling together and a length in the spine. We'll lower the gaze at the same rate as the head and spine, and then we press into the floor back up to standing. The reset in case the shoulders have slipped here. Squeeze the glutes, tilt the pelvis, use the breath out. Tummy button back to the spine, front ribs coming together, slightly taking the fists away from the bottom so that we're working into the upper arms and the muscles of the upper back. See if you can work the heels of the hands together. Naturally, they'll want to open wide. It's more of a chest opener to get the heels of the hands and the fleshy, soft tissue right up to the little finger. They'll want to come apart. The intention is to keep them together so that we keep the chest open wide. 2 more on this side and then we'll switch. Nice, gentle, slow movement. More important to feel that connection down the legs and your core staying engaged. Nice long neck. The next is the last, and then we'll shake out the arms before we take it over to the other side. So the gap between the chin and the chest staying the same. Amazing. Release out the arms, give them a good shake. Again, kick back if you feel you need to release out the legs, and then let's take that pyramid to the other side. If you feel nicely open across the chest, you can support your back and work the elbows together. So squeeze the glutes, hips square to the front, in front of your toes. Take a deep breath in as you breathe out. We're folding over the front leg. Long spine, ribs come together, tummy button back to the spine, elbows together. Press into the floor to come up. Squeeze the glutes, that reset always at the top, length through the crown of the head. And better to take 2 rounds of breath for the movement rather than rush through. But it's nice if we can work towards one phase of the breath with one phase of this flow. Quite nice if you've got any niggles in the lower back to actually press the hands into the lower back just to give us that sensory feedback of keeping the pelvis tilted and avoiding any arching when we come up to standing. Always thinking about that, the sit bones pointing down to the earth. Make the next one your last. Lengthen through the spine, long line from the base of the spine to the crown of the head. Amazing. And slowly come up. Brilliant. Kick back. We're going to take a high lunge or a knee lunge. It's your choice which you feel more comfortable with. So let's just make sure you can see. Brilliant. So come to the front of your space. Let's take the arms overhead as if we're going to take a sun salutation. Breathing out, swan dive the arms down. Now the right foot's going to step back. If you can keep the heel lifted, do so. This means Coming to an upright position with the front knee bent, the back leg straight. So if this is a challenge, let's have the knee down to the floor. So I'm going to start with the knee down to the floor so that I can be with you guys. Hip square to the front, arms in front of you, clam the arms together, shoulders back and down. Deep breath in. As you breathe out, we're opening this front knee over the front knee and slightly lunging forwards. Reach forwards and backwards. Breathe in to reset. Now you'll notice I'm not staying upright as my clam opens. I don't want to force or strain the lower back. I want to think about length from that back knee to the crown of the head. So wide open across the chest. This allows me to keep the pelvis tilted. Brilliant. 3 more on this side. Breathing in deeply, breathing out. Some resistance, work through some thick tar. Open the chest wide. Any niggles in your shoulders, have the palms facing upwards so we can soften across the shoulders. So we're tilting the pelvis, we've got that pelvic tilt. So we're relieving some tension from the hip flexors of the leg that's behind you. Brilliant. Now, to switch sides, if you're in a high lunge, we can simply switch the legs over. If you're in a knee lunge, you can put the knees down and reset up on the other side. So let's all find our position, either in the high lunge or knee down. Arms out in front of you, shoulders back and down. Pelvic tilt, already getting a hip flexor stretch on that hidden thigh at the back. Breathing in, opening, chest open, lunging a little bit deeper. And breath out. Really find your center of gravity, long line from the base of the spine up to the crown of the head. No forcing. Moving with the breath, reaching across the body, finding length in so many areas. Pressing into the foot to return the hands together. Gliding, shoulders down away from the ears. Clam closes. 2 more, and then we're staying down on the mat. Keep thinking about shoulders down, neutral spine. Wonderful. Slowly lower the knees and take a child pose, sitting back on the heels, letting the forehead rest on the floor, and just have a little rock side to side. We're going to be coming onto all fours, so there's no rush, but when you're ready, coming up, let's have the feet, knees, hip distance apart, shoulders directly over the wrists. We're going to take that side to side cow face type of pose. So we're taking the legs one at a time. Let's lift the right knee out to the side, up behind you, and behind the left knee. Reverse that movement. Lift, draw a wide arc through the hip and back to your starting point. Same with the other leg. So initially we're keeping very square in the upper body, arms, shoulders, and we're just focusing on a nice big movement with the hips. So draw a big arc with the leg, back to your setup. So let's have another 2 rounds side to side, or more if you've got more of a faster flow and you feel you can. But initially, we're not taking any movement into the upper body. So your gaze is still down to the floor. And we're just focusing on nice big movement through the hip. Taking a turn side to side, aiming to keep the arms straight. We're going to add on more of a leaning now. So when you're ready, let's all start with the left leg out to the side, behind, separate the feet. But now I'm more interested in leaning away from the arms and getting a stretch along the body. And back to the setup. So we take it side to side, and we are gradually working our way into a cow face position with the legs. But by going in phases, we can get a stretch down the side of the body. Nice, gentle movements. We can start to think about placing the knee down and separating the feet as if we're going to sit down between the feet. But let's not overcomplicate things, we'll just stick with this gentle flow, and it just allows us to stop when we're at our limits, yet nudging our challenge point. So on the next set, let's see if we can sit down between the feet, starting to lower yourself down. If you feel comfortable, maybe comfortable is not the word, but you feel secure, we can add on a lift in the upper body, a little rock to coax the sit bones down to the floor, or continue that movement side to side and just slowly preparing the hips for this deep stretch. Let's take it over to the other side if you've had a pause. The feet need to separate wide to allow us to sit back, but maybe for now you're sitting on the heels, and that's fine. It may be too much pressure to lift the hands, so feel free to keep the hands on the floor. If you've only done one side, even yourself out because we're about to come on to our backs. Actually, before we do that, we're going to take a little wipe movement with the legs. Come back onto all fours, separate and sit on your bottom. Let's have the knees out wide. Knees, ankles still hip distance apart. Start by windscreen wiping the knees side to side. And this means that we can then adjust the position of the feet so that we have space to allow the knee to come down in front of the foot. Again, gently take it side to side in a thigh stretch. Internal rotation of the hip. Option now to take this into a twist as you lower the knee, sweep the arm behind you. Can we take a continuous movement of a twist, and mobility of the hips still is a focus. Last couple of times. Allowing a nice easy flow with those twists and the high lunge and the eagle arms. Want to make sure we're fully released out any tension around the shoulder blades. And it's time to come onto your back. Start by hugging your knees into the chest. Have a little rock on the spine. And now either holding the outer edges of your mat, or you can support with the kind of mirrored capital L, support your hips. Let's imprint the lower spine, tilt the pelvis and lift the knees. Tabletop, flex the toes up towards your knees, and as you breathe out, press away through the heels, draw the core muscles in. So we'll breathe in, knees that come into the chest, we re-establish that imprint in the spine, breath out, push through the heels, shoulders stay down. Okay, we're staying here. You can close your eyes. You can hold the shoulders just to encourage them to stay down. Often we round the shoulders in an effort to support the core muscles in this extending position. You can hug the knees in to help re-imprint the spine. More of a challenge, lower the legs to the floor. Close the eyes, see if we can breathe out, squeeze in the core, tummy bottom back to the spine, spine into the mat. We have that pelvic tilt, avoid excessive arching in the spine. So shoulder blades quite close into the spine. Chin tucked into the neck. If you have a tendency to round the shoulders, sometimes it's helpful to have palms facing up, and we can just pin the backs of the shoulders into the mat. Last 5. So you slow it down. You can lower the legs. Or if you're beginning to shake, we can take the legs a little bit higher to take some of the intensity off. Find your level, last 3. And make sure you're not clenching the jaw. That can sometimes come in, a bit of tension into the jaw here. Try and feel the muscles of the face nice and soft, all the work into the core and the heels pressing away. And take a full body stretch. Arms overhead here. You can allow the lower spine to arch, flare the ribs, link the thumbs and stretch overhead. And then lower the arms. We take a twist, start with the knees into the chest in that tabletop position. Hook the knees one on top of the other, double link the ankles if you can, and lower to the side of the lower knee. So my right knee's on top, so I'm lowering to the left. Allow the arms to spill out wide, palms facing upwards. And gently rock from the head, on the back of the head on the floor, and find a position that just feels nice where you can settle. Just for a couple of breaths to soften the jaw. And let's prioritize keeping that opposite shoulder on the floor. Over getting the knees down to the floor. We can waver the knees. A nice gentle movement. Rotation for the spine. And gently unwind the legs the other way. Gently drop the knees to the side and find a comfortable position for your neck. Shoulders rooted down without forcing. Fingers gently curling, no forced position. Nice and soft and heavy through the arms. Nice gentle breath in and out of the nose, softening through the body. And just allowing heaviness to come into the body. Superb. Slowly come center. Right ankle on the left thigh. Externally rotate that right hip. Thread through and draw in. We can flex this top foot, toes up to the knee, and gently rocking, tipping side to side, until you find just that nice stretch for the hip. Then pause, close the eyes. Breathe deeply, letting everything become really heavy and relaxed. Got one more complete round of breath on this side, and then we'll switch. Hopefully this has been a nice gentle way back into the week's classes. At the end of the next exhalation, slowly untwist. Other foot to the thigh, externally rotate, knee out to the side, foot flex, draw in. Use your elbow to add a little bit more opening in the hip. And then with a gentle tipping side to side, we can start to find where's a nice stretch in the hip. Chin tucked, jaw soft, face soft, shoulders relaxed. Closing the eyes, just going inside the body, we can just mentally prepare for the rest of the day. Maybe noting anywhere that felt a little bit tense today, or could maybe be a little bit kinder to later in the day. And then let's slowly unhook the ankle, roll yourself into a ball, nose up to the knees, a little rock on the spine, then we'll hold behind the knees and rock up to sitting, just finishing with a gentle forward fold, not forcing. Ankles hip distance apart, lengthen through the spine, fingers up to the ceiling, reach into the fingers, stretch the fingers wide, and as you breathe out, allow the spine to arch. Take hold wherever the hands fall, and gently rock side to side. This is your very last stretch of the class, so be nice and kind and gentle, no forcing, just allowing a nice lengthening release in the backs of the legs. Head's heavy, allow the softening release for the back of the neck. Holding wherever's comfortable. One last breath in and out together. Nice deep breath in through the nose. Breath out. And then rolling up through the spine, head last to come up. At the very top, roll those shoulders back and down. Is that snow? Can't be. Oh my word. And well done, well done, well done. So